welcome to Joy in Our Town. I'm Sherry Duckworth, and joining me today is Mr. Albert Martin, the Executive Director with the North Texas Housing Coalition. Thank you for being back with us here, Mr. Martin.
As always, it's a pleasure and a privilege to be here. Thank you for having me.
Wonderful to have you, and we have questions today for you concerning the economy. Obviously, it's always a big topic of discussion these days, but really how it's affecting our seniors in the community. Kind of give us I guess just what you've been seeing and how you're seeing the economy and where it's at affecting our older citizens and the seniors in the community these days.
Well, you know, for the work that we do, we see and know that the economy is really affecting everyone. Young, older people, those who have previously been employed a long time, there are a lot of layoffs, a lot of things that are going on in the economy, and it's really affecting everyone, especially those that are in the housing market. I don't think it's missed anybody. Everybody has an impact on somebody, but our senior citizens, I believe, it is impacting them the most because oftentimes they are the ones who are typically on fixed income. And it not only has the economy downturn, but you also see that prices are going up on some of the essential items that our seniors need, like medicine and food and electricity and all those other things. So it makes it very difficult for our senior citizens in this current economy.
Now, with the current economy, we're hearing a lot of senior citizens saying, well, I didn't expect to have to be going back to work at this age, or, you know, we have a fixed income, but it's just not enough right now. So what advice are you giving those particular seniors when they come in and are speaking with you about their current housing situation?
Well, the advice now is really no different than it was before the crisis. We've always maintained the position that people have to be good managers, good stewards of limited resources. You have to make sound decisions. You have to have a plan and work the plan. And we understand that there's a different plan that you use in a crisis versus outside of crises. But for our seniors, we've always stressed operating and maintaining a budget, not being frivolous. And a lot of times they're more helpful to us than we are to them because a lot of the things that we're working on with them, they're already doing. So it really doesn't change. You have to plan and manage your resources.
Excellent, and we can all learn from that. What is the North Texas Housing Coalition doing to specifically help the seniors be able to move forward? How are you giving them a plan? What's the plan of action look like from a practical perspective?
I'm glad that you asked, because do I look excited?
You do. You got a big smile on your face when I asked that.
We have just launched a very new program that is called the Senior Education and Resource Center. This center will serve as a complete source of information and education on issues that greatly affect and impact our senior citizens. Our senior citizens will be able to get up-to-date, on-site, very relevant information. We've already established an on-site computer lab for them, access to written materials, and really we're trying to make sure that information that they need, especially now in this time, they have access to. One of the things that we've found, crises bring out the best and also the worst in people. And the most vulnerable segment of our community are those that are elderly and those who are disabled. Predators seem to really want to take advantage of them, especially in the economy that we're in right now. So the Senior Education Resource Center will be a clearinghouse of information on consumer fraud, on identity theft, protection, prevention, what to do if your identity is stolen. We are continuing to work with families on foreclosure help, and foreclosure, no matter what the newspaper says, for us, we have not seen a downturn in the number of foreclosures. People are still battling to keep their home, even our citizens, senior citizens. And we also want to provide them help with insurance, retirement and estate planning. and all kinds of financial related issues that'll help them make sound decisions, especially in the current economy that we're in.
So when a senior walks into the Resource Center, what's going to happen? What questions will they be asked, and what will their experience look like?
Well, the difference in this program and the home ownership program that we currently utilize for everyone, our hope is that we can go to them.
I see.
We want to partner and have already made some initial outreach to other groups that are already working with our senior citizens, those that are 55 and above. And so what we want to do is partner with those organizations, take the information that we have to that segment of the population, make sure that information is available to where they are. Now, those clients that are there that really need that one-on-one, they really need to come in and work on some things. When they come in, the first thing that we will do is take a look at their total picture, how their finances are, what type of bills and expenses do they have per month, what kind of things have they already put in place as far as planning for their finances and their assets. What do they already have in place? And what we do typically is once we've gotten all the information we need, we sit down with them and work out a plan of action for them to try to help them, first of all, make sure that they are protecting their greatest asset, which is their identity. You'll be amazed at the level and the intensity of people out there looking for opportunity to steal your Social Security number. And we always tell them, protect your identity just like you would protect grandmama's secret formula that she didn't want anybody to know. You do everything that you can to make sure people do not have access. People are going to tremendous ways of trying to find out how to get access to people's income, to their resources. And it's not just our senior citizens. I tell anyone, you make sure you protect your identity. So that's what we kind of do, work with them to make sure we do the planning that they need to help them.
What are some practical tips that you can give seniors and others on how to prevent identity theft? Because it's obviously a very big problem.
Well, they need to work with themselves and their families to make sure that they have a security plan together. What are the steps? And we outline them for them, what things they need to secure, how to secure their password, if they're internet savvy, how to secure your passwords and your identity on the internet. We also advise them to use a reputable credit monitoring service where they can always have access to their credit, make sure no one has gotten access to their Social Security number and their vital information and gone out and gotten credit on it. Make sure they have good security software on their computer. And really, again, treat those Social Security numbers like grandma's secret recipe. And you have to commit your vital numbers to memory. We typically use 1, 2, 3, 4. That's not very hard to figure out what that password is because everybody uses very simple password. You have to kind of mix it up and make it hard for those who are trying to get access to the information to get access. So use numbers and letters. And if you have a problem remembering, one of the things you can do is write them down and put them in a safe place.
So technology definitely adds another layer of, well, you have to be extra cautious and definitely strategize.
Really identity theft is a very serious crime in the United States. When you look at some of the statistics, it is staggering. In 2000, before the crisis, there were over 40 billion in losses through identity theft, through telemarketing fraud, and other unscrupulous activities. By the end of 2007, that 40 billion had escalated to 120 billion in losses through identity theft. So it is not something that's just happening in isolation with seniors, but they, again, are one of the most vulnerable segments of our population, and we want to try to do all that we can to help protect them.
So if they are not, technology savvy, they have a computer, maybe, a grandchild gave it to them or a child gave it to them, and they're using it, to try to stay organized. Can they get help? Is there somewhere they can go to get those questions answered and say, how do I do this? Are you going to be able to help them with some of those, practical, how do I set up a password? You mentioned pulling up their credit reports.
Right.
So teaching them how do I do that?
They can always contact the North Texas Housing Coalition at 214-946-3500. But I'll give you an example. My mother, bless her heart, is 81 years old. We recently bought her a new computer last year for Christmas. Made sure she had the software and all that. Then I came back to Dallas. And I was concerned about it because I said, wait a minute, she might start buying stuff on the internet and that kind of thing because she's real smart and she's real savvy. And so I decided to go back and double check on her, make sure everything was okay. Well, everything that she needed, she had gotten it from my 18-year-old nephew, who is very computer savvy, has set up her security on the computer, had made sure that she had set up a little vault on her Norton where all of her ID stuff is located. Nobody can get into it but her. And so another good place to get the resources you need are from people who love and care about you, that will help you work through it. And he's been giving her little classes on how to use the internet.
It's wonderful to hear. It's wonderful to hear families coming together like that to help each other out.
And we see that all the time, even in our offices, how the younger have no problems working with their older family members to make sure that they're secure. So it's a family affair.
That's awesome. Now, for those who are looking for housing options right now, who are 65 and older, growing up we always thought, Grandma and Grandpa's house, it's going to always be there. We'll always have somewhere to go visit on the holidays, but that's not always the case these days. So what advice do you give those who maybe are looking for different housing options now?
Well, let me say this first. Texas is one of 10 states in the union that have the highest poverty levels for older adults. We're at about 14%. The national average is about 10%. So with that said, a lot of seniors now find it impossible to maintain the lifestyle that they had where they own their own home. There are some places in Dallas that are very good, in and around Dallas, really very good senior assisted living centers. But I always tell them, make sure you do your homework on these places. Make sure that you take the time to interview the facility, because most time when you go, the facility wants to interview you. You make sure you have the questions that you need to ask. When you go to these facilities, you interview them. You make them prove to you that they have the services and the customer relations that is worthy of you coming to live with them, and don't allow them to just interview you. You interview them.
I like that.
You make sure that you take the time. There's really one area that they have, the government is providing tax credits for investors that's building affordable homes, and that's through Section 202, and they can get that information on the website too from HUD. But it's the only affordable housing program dedicated to seniors, and it provides grants and rental help through nonprofit sponsors of low-income senior housing projects. A lot of the groups that we work with that are nonprofit, a lot of them are building senior assisted living facilities. They are highly scrutinized by the federal government. And so if you need a reference, we have a referral service that we can help refer you to a reputable place if they are needing to look for another form of permanent housing.
Wonderful. Mr. Martin, thank you so much for coming today and talking with us again and giving a lot of great information to our community and to our citizens out there here in the DFW area. And if anybody has any more questions, they can visit your website. Is that right? And that's www.nthcinc.org.
Or give us a call, 214-946-3500.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for being here today.
Always a pleasure.
And thank you all for watching Joy in Our Town.
Take out meals for just $12.99. Call now.
Sherry Pearson,